America has lost nuclear bombs. Not documents. Not military equipment. Actual nuclear weapons. Weapons powerful enough to destroy entire cities. Some fell into oceans. Some vanished beneath American soil. And some were never recovered. But the most terrifying part isn't that they were lost. It's how close some came to exploding. The United States built thousands of nuclear weapons during the Cold War. Weapons designed for a conflict that many feared could begin at any moment. American military planners worried about surprise attacks from the Soviet Union. They worried about missiles. They worried about bombers. They worried about a war that could start with only a few minutes of warning. To ensure a response could always be launched, American bombers carrying nuclear weapons were frequently kept in the air, day and night, across oceans and continents. The strategy was known as nuclear deterrence. If war suddenly erupted, these aircraft would already be airborne and ready to strike back. The system was designed to prevent catastrophe. Instead, it created a new danger. Because eventually, people began asking a frightening question. What happens if a plane carrying nuclear weapons crashes? The answer arrived on February 13, 1950. A massive American B-36 bomber was flying over the Pacific Ocean during a training mission. On board was a Mark IV nuclear bomb. During the flight, multiple engines failed. The situation quickly became critical. The crew realized they might not survive. Faced with disaster, they made a decision. The bomb was released into the ocean. Shortly afterward, the crew abandoned the aircraft. The bomber eventually crashed. The crew survived. The bomb did not. It disappeared beneath the Pacific Ocean. And despite searches conducted over the years, it was never recovered. Officially, the weapon did not contain its plutonium core and could not produce a nuclear explosion. But that wasn't what shocked military officials. What shocked them was the realization that America had already lost a nuclear weapon. And it would not be the last. As Cold War tensions intensified, military aircraft flew thousands of missions. Every mission carried risks. Mechanical failures, human mistakes, bad weather, mid-air collisions. Each one created another opportunity for disaster. Then, in 1958, another incident occurred near Savannah, Georgia. An American B-47 bomber was conducting a training exercise when it collided with another aircraft. The bomber suffered serious damage. The pilot feared the aircraft might crash before reaching safety. To save the crew, he was ordered to jettison the weapon. The bomb fell toward the waters near Tybee Island. Search teams immediately launched a massive recovery operation. Ships scanned the area. Aircraft searched overhead. Divers explored underwater. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. Nothing was found. The bomb had vanished. Even today, nobody can say with complete certainty where it rests. Some researchers believe it remains buried beneath layers of mud near Tybee Island. Others argue it may not have contained all of its nuclear components. The debate continues. But one fact remains. A nuclear weapon disappeared near the American coastline. And nobody knows exactly where it is. By now, you might think these were isolated accidents. They weren't. The U.S. military eventually developed an official term for incidents involving nuclear weapons. Broken arrow. A phrase used when a nuclear weapon was involved in an accident that did not create a risk of war. The existence of the term reveals something unsettling. These incidents happened often enough to require their own category, and some came terrifyingly close to catastrophe. The most alarming occurred in 1961. On January 24, a B-52 bomber was flying over North Carolina. On board were two Mark 39 hydrogen bombs. Each possessed destructive power, many times greater than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. During the flight, a fuel leak developed. The aircraft began falling apart. The crew fought desperately to maintain control. They couldn't. The bomber disintegrated in the sky. The two bombs fell toward the ground below. One descended beneath a parachute, almost exactly as it would have during an actual nuclear attack. The second plunged toward the earth without control. What investigators discovered afterward remained classified for years. And when the details finally emerged, they were deeply disturbing. One safety mechanism failed. Then another. Then another. Then another. One by one, the bomb's safeguards stopped working. Of the multiple systems designed to prevent accidental detonation, nearly all had activated in the wrong sequence. Only a single low-voltage switch remained. One switch. One small electrical component. Standing between North Carolina and one of the worst disasters in American history. Recovery teams eventually recovered much of the second bomb. But not all of it. Some components remain buried beneath the ground to this day. The government eventually purchased land around the site. Not because an explosion remained likely, but because pieces of the weapon were still down there, hidden beneath the earth. A permanent reminder of how close catastrophe had come. Yet the accidents continued. In 1966, one of the most famous nuclear incidents of the Cold War unfolded over Spain. A B-52 bomber carrying 4 hydrogen bombs collided with a refueling tanker in midair. The collision destroyed both aircraft. Debris rained from the sky, and 4 nuclear bombs began falling toward the ground. 2 slammed into the earth with such force that their conventional explosives detonated. Radioactive material spread across nearby farmland. For the first time, a major nuclear accident was not hidden beneath the ocean. It was scattered across the landscape. Farmers watched as military personnel flooded the area. Thousands of tons of contaminated soil were eventually removed and shipped away. One of the bombs landed intact. Another vanished into the Mediterranean Sea. For months, an enormous search operation combed the water. Ships scanned the seabed. Submersibles descended into the depths. Eventually, the weapon was located and recovered. But the incident demonstrated how quickly a routine military operation could become an international crisis. Even then, the accidents were not over. In 1965, aboard the aircraft carrier USS Ticonderoga, crew members were moving an attack aircraft across the deck. Something went wrong. The aircraft rolled off the side of the carrier. Pilot, aircraft, nuclear weapon, all plunged into the Pacific Ocean. The water below was thousands of meters deep. Recovery was impossible. Everything vanished into the darkness. The aircraft and its weapon remain somewhere beneath the Pacific today, lost beyond reach. 3 years later, another major accident occurred near Greenland. In 1968, a B-52 carrying nuclear weapons crashed near Thule Air Base. The impact scattered debris across the frozen landscape. Radioactive contamination spread across ice and snow. A massive cleanup operation followed. Workers battled extreme Arctic conditions while collecting contaminated material. The incident triggered international controversy. And once again, it reminded governments that even the world's most powerful military could not eliminate risk entirely. Over time, technology improved. Safety systems became more sophisticated. Aircraft became more reliable, Tracking methods became more advanced. The number of accidents declined dramatically. Yet the stories never disappeared. Researchers continued investigating. Journalists uncovered classified records. Historians reconstructed forgotten events. Each discovery reminded the public that the nuclear age was not as controlled as many people assumed, because nuclear weapons are often discussed as symbols, political tools, strategic assets, numbers in military inventories. But these accidents revealed something different. Nuclear weapons are physical objects. They can be dropped, lost, damaged, misplaced. The same human errors that affect every industry can affect nuclear systems too. And when they do, the consequences become almost unimaginable. Today, somewhere beneath the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere beneath the Pacific Ocean, and somewhere beneath layers of American soil, pieces of lost nuclear weapons still remain. Most experts believe they no longer pose a significant nuclear threat. Corrosion and time have changed them forever. But that is not really the point. The point is that some of the most powerful weapons ever created were never fully recovered. They simply vanished, swallowed by oceans, buried by nature, erased from sight, yet not from history, because these missing bombs tell a larger story. Not a story about technology, not a story about military power, but a story about uncertainty. The Cold War was built on the illusion of control. Control over enemies. Control over weapons. Control over the future. Yet hidden beneath the waves are reminders that control was never absolute. Machines failed. Humans made mistakes. And sometimes the most dangerous objects on Earth simply disappeared. Somewhere beneath the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere beneath the Pacific, somewhere beneath layers of American soil, pieces of America's lost nuclear arsenal still remain. Silent, corroded, forgotten. The Cold War ended decades ago. The bombers stopped flying. The crisis passed. But some of the weapons never came home. And unless someone finds them someday, they may remain lost longer than the civilization that built them. Because history's most unsettling mysteries aren't always the weapons we fear. Sometimes they're the weapons we lost.